Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the channel. My name is DaReal. We are back with some NBA 2K Mobile. In today's video, we will be doing a stats breakdown on the brand new theme for the Intimidators players. There's a bunch of new Onyx players being added to this theme and a lot of defenders. So we're going to break everything down and I'll explain to you exactly how I will do so. So when we do these stat breakdown videos, the whole idea is to tell you who the best players are for the themes, who you should craft, ideally try to get on your team, and if you need to try to go after packs, what players you want to try to hopefully get. So we calculate these stats by combining all the attributes of the players from shoot off dribble all the way through defending. We take an average of all those stats together and we come up with a stat average for each player. That is how I determine the top players for each position, the top players to craft, and the top players that you have overall for the theme. So now that you understand that, let's get into it and let's start breaking down these stats. For the new theme, there are a total of 4 new Onyx players, 4 amethyst, 3 emerald, 4 gold, 3 ruby, and 3 sapphire, for a total of 21 new players added to the game. Now we're going to start with the point guard position. There are currently 4 point guards for this theme, and we're going to sort them by lowest to highest. So we'll start with the lowest point guard for this theme. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes the lower players are not a surprise, but I do encourage you to watch this video because there are instances where the highest power rating card might not be nowhere near the top of being one of the best cards. All right, so coming in at 3.1 overall stat average, you got Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley is a craftable point guard with his strongest categories being a 5 in agility, while he has a couple of 4s in playmaking, defending, and 3-point shot. Now, for most of the point guards, their lowest category will be post scoring and rebounding. And that is applicable to Patrick Beverley. He has a 1 and 2 in those categories. However, everything else is scattered with 3s. So if you can focus on those categories where Pat Beverley has a 5, or some of those that are a 4, he might be a decent point guard. All right, next you got Amethyst Isaiah Thomas. Comes in at a 3.9 overall. Now, Isaiah Thomas is really, really good. He has categories that he has a 5 in a lot of good categories like shoot off dribble, mid-range shooting, agility, and playmaking. While he has a 4 in defending, a 4 in strength. As you can see, he's pretty well rounded. I think what hurts him, and just like every other point guard for the most part, is a 1 in post scoring and a 2 in rebounding. Aside from that, he's pretty good and you can boost up a lot of his categories. And if you don't count those 2 categories that he's really bad in, he can be one of the elite point guards in the game. Next, you got at a 4.2 overall, Onyx Allen Iverson, who has a 5 in defending, playmaking, agility, 3-point shot, mid-range shooting, and shoot off dribble, with his area of opportunity also being post scoring and rebounding. Aside from that, Allen Iverson is a monster. Like, he has many solid categories, and with the right gears, you can simply just maximize on his strengths. And last but not least is Amethyst Gary Payton, which is craftable. GP has a 4.4 overall stat average. He has a 5 in defending, playmaking, agility, post scoring, 3-point shot, mid-range shooting, and shoot off dribble, with his lowest stats being a 3 in layups and dunks and a 2 in rebounding. One of the highest overall point guards in the game. Very solid stats, and just another card that you can completely hook up with any type of gear. This GP will be solely off your playstyle because he's so good in so many categories. All right, so there are a total of 3 shooting guards. We'll start with the lowest, and that is Avery Bradley, coming in at a 3.0 overall stat average. He is a craftable card. A lot of his stats are fairly low, so he might be one of those cards that you might not want to craft, right? His strengths is defending, playmaking, agility, 3-point shot, mid-range shooting, and shoot off dribble, all coming at a 4. And you might say to yourself, well, why is overall rating so low? He has a 1 in post scoring, a 1 in rebounding, a 2 in strength, and a 2 in layups and dunks. So those categories really bring down his overall stat average. But aside from that, the playmaking and the defending is a pretty strong attribute to have a 4 in, along with mid-range shooting, 3-point shot, and shoot-off dribble. So he has a lot of good categories. However, it's going to take a lot of work to bring him to a point where he's serviceable on your team. Then you have at a 3.4 overall, and this is probably a better situation than Avery Bradley. You got Marcus Smart, who has a 4 in defending, 4 in playmaking. He actually has a 5 in agility, along with 4 in strength, 4 in 3-point shot, 4 in mid-range shooting. But he has a 3 in shoot-off dribble, a 2 in rebounding, and a 2 in layups and dunks, along with post scoring. Again, those are categories that your shooting guard are not strong in normally. But still, it just leaves you in a predicament where you have to bring up a lot of stats to make him a balanced shooting guard. Then you have at a 3.9 overall stat average. This is a craftable card as well. And this is Amethyst Joe Dumars. Now, Joe Dumars is real well-rounded. And this is my first time seeing him with such a high rarity. So it's just pretty cool. I usually see him in much lower rarities. So he is craftable. He has a 5 in defending, 5 in playmaking, 5 in 3-point shot, 5 in mid-range shooting, and a 5 in shoot-off dribble. So he's really, really good. Area of opportunity is a 1 in rebounding, 2 in post scoring, and 3 in layups and dunks. Again, those are not major priorities. He has a 4 in strength and 4 in agility, so there's a lot of opportunity to make him much better. But he's pretty good just off general with no gears. He is a good shooting guard to have on your team. All right, for the small forwards, you have a total of 4. So your lowest overall, and it's actually a tie for 2, but we'll start with the lowest one I came up on my list. And that is Sapphire PJ Tucker, who has a 3.6 overall stat average. He is craftable. However, he needs his area of opportunities is shoot-off dribble, which is a 2. Layups and dunks, post scoring, and rebounding all coming in at 3. Aside from those categories, he has a ton of 4s, and he has a 5 in strength. So PJ's not that bad, right? 3.6 is actually okay. So if you were to get him, I think if you would focus on his mid-range shot and 3-point shot, that will help him out. Or even maybe find a way to boost up a shoot-off dribble and layups and dunks. And PJ is craftable. Then you got another craftable small forward, Emerald Marcus Morris, who comes in at a 3.6 as well. His strengths is shoot-off dribble, layups, dunks, mid-range shooting, 3-point shot, agility, and strength, along with rebounding, all coming in at a 4. However, he has a 2 in playmaking and a 3 in defending, along with a 3 in post scoring. So those are kind of important categories, especially the playmaking and defending. Post scoring, not so much, but that is key for a power forward. All right, so now at a 3.7, you got Gold James Johnson, who has a 4 in layups and dunks, mid-range shooting, 3-point shot, agility, strength, and playmaking, along with defending, with his lower stats being a 3 in shoot-off dribble, post scoring, and rebounding. So he's not that bad. Then last but not least, at a 4.0, you got Onyx Jimmy Butler, who has a 5 in defending, and pretty much everything else is a 4 except for rebounding, which is a 3. So Jimmy is a really good player. And with the gears, you're only going to make him much more elite. All right, so for your power forwards, believe it or not, the lowest overall stat average is at a 3.5, Kevin Garnett. And I explained this in this Onyx video as well. KG really got hurt because of the 3-point shot. It brought him down to his 3-point shot, which is a 1, and his agility, which is a 2. His strongest category is mid-range shooting and post scoring, which are 5. Those are great for a power forward. Now, this is the key with Kevin Garnett. He has a 3 in playmaking. If you can boost up that playmaking for him, it actually would help him out a lot. And if you could bring up his 3-point shot and shoot-off dribble somehow, and it can really make him like a solid power forward, slightly better than Kevin Love. So there's a lot of area opportunity to Kevin Garnett. But the great thing about it is that he has a 5 in some pretty good categories, and a 4 in rebounding and a 4 in defending, along with a 4 in layups and dunks. So you can really just focus on those categories and make him a beast. Or you can try and make him more well-balanced by giving him a jump shot to a certain extent. And you got at a 3.6. This card is craftable. Gold Markieff Morris, who has a 5 in mid-range shooting, while everything else is a combination of 4 and 3s. His lowest category, though, is a 2 in playmaking, while he also has a 3 in defending and a 3 in rebounding. So those are areas that you can focus on. And last but not least, you got Onyx Dennis Rodman, who has a 3.8 overall stat average. He has a 5 in defending, and like I've said in previous videos, he is the only player I've seen to have a 6 in categories, and that's for strength and rebounding. Aside from that, he's not really an offensive threat, so he's gonna have a 2 off shoot off dribble, a 2 off 3-point shooting, a 3 on post scoring, but he has a 4 in layups and dunks and mid-range shooting. No. And he has a 3 in mid-range shooting, but he has a 4 in layups and dunks and a 4 in agility. So there is opportunity with Dennis Rodman. So just like the Glassman theme, there are a lot of centers in this theme as well. So we'll start with the lowest. And that's going to be Sapphire Steven Adams, who comes in at a 3.0 overall stat average. He is craftable. His strengths is rebounding, which is a 5. His area of opportunity is shoot off dribble at a 2. Mid-range shooting and 3-point shot both coming in at a 1. If those things don't matter to you and you just want a solid rebounder and defender, then Steve Adams will be fine for your team, because he has a 5 in rebounding and a 4 in defending, so you can boost those categories in. Then at a 3 overall, this card is craftable. However, it is Onyx Dikembe Mutumbo. Dikembe Mutombo has a 5 in defending, 5 in rebounding, 5 in strength. Everything else is pretty bad. It's got a 1 in shoot-off dribble, 1 in mid-range shooting, 1 in 3-point shot, 2 in agility, and 2 in playmaking. So Dikembe is purely a defensive monster, but that's what he was known for, right? So if you can somehow maybe just focus on those categories, like layups and dunks you can easily bring up from a 4 to something else, and then maybe bring up his strength and rebounding and defending from a 5 maybe to a 6 or 7, he can be serviceable on your team. And because he is an Onyx card, that power rating will give you a good boost. Then you have a 3.1 overall stat average is Gold Mutumbo. It's his first time in the game, so it's pretty exciting. So he has a 5 in defending, 5 in rebounding, and a 5 in post scoring, along with a 5 in layups and dunks. He has a 1 in agility, 1 in strength, and a 1 in playmaking. So you see that really brings down the score, while he has a 3 in 3-point shot. Now, the funny thing about Mutumbo is he actually was a good 3-point shooter. I've seen games where he will make a good amount of threes. I'm not saying he's like a Jokic or anything, but I'm not surprised that he had a 3 in 3-point shot. Just in case you were wondering why, that's the reason. Then you got a 3.2 overall, Charles Oakley, Sapphire, who has a 5 in rebounding and strength, while everything else is a combination of 2s and 3s. Then you got at a 3.4, Ben Wallace, Amethyst, has a 5 in defending, 5 in rebounding, and a 6 in strength, while all his other categories are combinations of 1, 2s, and a couple of 3s. And then he has a 2 in playmaking, 1 in 3-point shot, 2 in mid-range shooting, and a 2 in shoot-off dribble. So if you wanted to focus on his offense, there's opportunities. If not, maximize his defensive categories, just like you would do with Dennis Rodman. Then at a 3.6 overall, you got Shaquille O'Neal, Emerald, who has a 5 in defending, 5 in rebounding, 5 in strength, 5 in post scoring, and a 5 in layups and dunks. Shaq has to be one of the cards that I wish was rated higher, but he falls victim to the lack of jump shot as well, because he has a 1 in mid-range shooting and a 1 in 3-point shot, and then a 2 off shoot-off dribble. So at center, at 3.8 overall, this guy is actually pretty solid. Like Bill Laimbeer I've always remembered him as being a tough defender, one of the bad boys, but he's actually really good stat-wise. Like his rebounding is 5, strength is 5, his mid-range shot and three-point shot are both a 5 as well. And his shoot-off dribble is a 4 along with his post scoring and defending. He's actually really, really good. Like if you could bring up his layups and dunks from a 3 to something else, and maybe bring up his agility, he's a solid center. I mean, he's got a 5 and 3-point shot and a 5 in mid-range. Very serviceable. All right, so your top 5 overall cards for this team would be Amethyst Joe Dumars, Amethyst Isaiah Thomas, Onyx Jimmy Butler, Onyx Allen Iverson, and Amethyst Gary Payton. Now for your point guards, the lowest would be Emerald Patrick Beverly, Amethyst Isaiah Thomas, Onyx Allen Iverson, and Amethyst Gary Payton. Then for your shooting guards, you're gonna have Gold Avery Bradley, Ruby Marcus Smart, and Amethyst Joe Dumars. Then for your small forwards, you're gonna have Sapphire PJ Tucker, Emerald Marcus Morris, Gold James Johnson, and then Onyx Jimmy Butler. Then for your power forwards, you're gonna have Ruby Kevin Garnett, then Gold Markieff Morris, then Onyx Dennis Rodman. Then for your centers, you're gonna have Gold Manu Ball, Sapphire Charles Oakley, Amethyst Ben Wallace, Emerald Shaquille O'Neal, and Ruby Bill Lambier. So those are your top players for each position. Now your top craftable would be Gold Markieff Morris, Emerald Marcus Morris, Gold James Johnson, Amethyst Joe Dumars, and Amethyst Gary Payton. And then your top team overall at point guard will be Amethyst Gary Payton, and Amethyst Joe Dumars, Onyx Jimmy Butler, Onyx Dennis Rodman, and Ruby Bill Lambier. So that is it. That is the theme. We broke down all the stats for every player in this team, total of 21 players across all the positions from point guard to center. We told you the top 5 cards you should be trying to craft, the best overall team that you should try to get inside of your events, and the best players overall. So I do hope that you enjoy this content. It takes a while to compile the stats, but we also got the winter lineup. The winter theme cards stats are broken down already. We're going to make that video for the weekend, so you can know which winter players to have on your team as well. All right. So again, thanks for the support. Really appreciate it. We just passed 3K on the channel, and I see that we're already almost near 3.1K. So I appreciate the support. It is real, and I'm looking forward to the new decade, the new year, and we got a lot of things lined up. All right. So again, thank you. Peace out.